Well, hello writers. Welcome to episode number 170 of How Do You Write? I'm Rachael Herron. Super pleased that you're here with me today as we speak to the fabulous Maya Hughes. If you watch on YouTube, for various reasons, she can't have her face on the internet, and they are interesting reasons. So you will not see her face, you'll just see her name flashed up there. And let that be a source of wonder to you as you think about why. I ain't gonna tell you. So she's talking about the wonders of Scrivener and all sorts of other wonderful things. So you are going to enjoy that. My voice, if you're listening, and my face, if you're looking, might sound a little bit different because I'm in a new spot, which I am so excited about that I am going to talk really quickly about. I have joined a co-working space. I have done this in the past and I have not gone back. It has not been, I have joined places that have not inspired me to make the trek downtown. And this one's different. It's called Sphere. It's in Oakland. It's a women's co-working / wellness place, and it is amazing. There's a quiet section and a talking section, and it smells like the spa, and there's living walls. It's really, really inclusive, which is my favorite part. They do a very, very good job of attracting women of color and members of the LGBTQ community. In fact, they are the only people that they target with marketing. So that's amazing. They have a bowl of beads that you can wear if you don't want to be talked to at all. You're in noble silence, which I probably won't wear. It's enough for me just to be quiet. But they have these podcasting booths, and I'm in a phone booth doing this, and there's a beautiful kitchen, and there's a swing. There is a fitness studio with Peloton equipment. One treadmill, one bike that you can book. They have yoga, they have fitness classes every day at noon that are all included in the price of being in this space. Dude, they have meditation every day at 10:35 a.m. for 15 minutes. You go into the meditation room and you meditate with other people. It's amazing. They have a nap time, an optional nap time, which I haven't used yet, but I plan on trying it. What else? They have all these community building and networking events, and I've already met amazing people. And the best part of it is that I've been riding public transit to get here. I get in the headspace on my way. I sit next to the window. I look out into downtown Oakland. Right now I'm looking at this construction site and the buses going by and people walking and all the guys in hard hats. And I feel like I'm at an office. I've never been at an office before, so maybe that's why I'm really excited about it. Never worked in an office building, ever, not once in my life. And it makes me have a container for the day. I come here, I work all day, I go home, and I don't work. Although I'll probably have to work tonight to upload this podcast. But I'm trying not to work when I go home. And it took 4 years, but I think I finally grew out of my home office as a place to work all the time. I did used to write a lot at the Mills Library or at a cafe, but this is going to be better. This already feels amazing, and it feels like kind of a home. And I get to go outside and walk around, and I'm downtown, and there are people and things to eat, and I walked to a recovery meeting at lunchtime today. That was my lunch break. I walked to it. It was amazing. So I'm just really, really, really in love with this. And this is where I'm going to be mostly podcasting from, I hope. So I hope it's not too echoey, too boomy. Let me know if it is, if it's really distracting for you, and I'll try to figure out how to compress that out. And I will obviously always do that on my podcast. I always work on the sound quality, but let me know if it's driving you crazy. So in other news, I'd just like to thank new patron Whitney. Thank you so much for coming along the ride, Whitney. I hope that you enjoy the essays. There is one going out this week with a major confession, and I'm not talking a minor confession. I'm talking about something that really kind of messed me up recently, and I wrote an essay about it. So everybody in the Patreon community gets that essay. You can get that essay too for $1 a month. You can always find that over at patreon.com/Whitney. Rachael. And now let us jump into the wonderful interview with Maya. I know you're going to like it. Please come by howdoyourwrite.net. Drop me a comment. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me how your writing is going. And thank you for being here. Happy writing to you. Well, I could not be more pleased to welcome this morning to the show, Maya Hughes. Hello, Maya. How are you?
Hi, so happy to be here.
So happy to have you. Let me give you a little bio before we start chatting about your process. Maya Hughes can often be found sneaking in another chapter while hiding in the bathroom from her kids. She's a romance writer who loves taking inspiration from everyday life. She's the mom of 3 little ones, the wife to an amazing husband, and also works full time. Some of her favorite things are cupcakes, cinnamon rolls, white wine, laughing until she can't breathe, traveling with her family, and Jeff Goldblum. I love that last one. Jeff Goldblum is great.
He's amazing. He's like, I don't know, it's like he's a human who's come to Earth like with an idea of how humans are supposed to act and interact, and it's so like just like charming, and you're just fascinated watching him.
That's a really good point. He might be an alien that might actually like come out at some point. I would really like that. That's hilarious. Okay, so you get a lot done. And are juggling so many balls, and those are the people I love best to talk to. How do you get it done? How do you get your writing done? When and where and how does it happen?
Generally less often than I would like, as far as the how, but I wake up very early for some reason. I just manage to survive on less sleep. I think it's because of the children. They've just like programmed me for the years to not need much sleep. So usually most days I'll wake up, even if I don't want to, around 4.
That is most people say really early and they mean 6. 4 is really, really, really early. Yeah.
4 is really, really early. So I'll usually just lay in bed and go, please fall back to sleep. And then I don't. So then at about 4:30, I'll get up and then I'll come into the office and I'll try and write for about an hour. And then I'll get up and get everyone ready for school and all that, and we get into the routine and all that, and then I head into the office at work and I do my work stuff, and then it's after school activities and all of that jazz. And then once everyone is hopefully at least in bed, even if they're not asleep, by 7:30. And then, my husband and I, we might maybe sit down and watch a show. If there's something on, like Westworld will be starting soon. So we will be watching that once that's on.
Yes, we will too. I love that show.
I love it. And then I'm just in the office and I'm writing until, or, doing admin stuff, marketing, all sorts of other things, usually from about, 8 until 10 or 11. It's really hard for me to stop. I kind of just could keep going, but I'm like, no, I need to actually sleep for some amount of time. So I've cut myself off.
Wow. And then do you fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow kind of thing?
Yeah, I have been known to fall asleep mid-sentence. Like my husband was like, we're having a full-on conversation and he's just like, and then you stopped responding and you were asleep. And I'm like, yeah, it is time to go to sleep now, and then just power down like a robot.
That's an admirable quality, honestly. So how do you get through your books? Are you a plotter, a pantser?
Oh my goodness. So I have wanted to be a plotter where I could just write it down and have a solid outline and know every single in and out, and just because I managed it once, and that book it just flew. It like flew by, and there were no hiccups, no roadblocks, nothing. And it was amazing. And I've never done that since. So yeah, I tend to try and get the general idea. Like I have an idea of the tropes and, the characters and their backgrounds, and where I usually know the ending and I know how they're going to meet. So for me, it's usually about all the ins and outs and the ups and downs between those 2 points, which can be, challenging. Yeah. So I do a lot of walking with one of my neighbors around the block, and we'll talk through things, and I feel so bad because I do the same thing with my husband. I feel like half of the time when we're, spitballing things, it's mainly them saying, what about this? And it's me going, no, but how about this? Like, it's like literally just me being like, that's a great idea, but no. And then we're going to do something else.
I love that you say that. Like, my wife is, I think, my best plotting help, along with a couple of girlfriends, but she's literally the best. But every single idea she has, she always says, you always shoot it down. But I do go no, I know that's not it, but that makes me think of something. Yes, that's exactly right.
Exactly. So it's a lot of trying to talk things out with people and sort of just, spitballing things or writing down things, or I'll hear someone, while I'm walking somewhere and I'll hear someone say something and I'll think, oh my gosh, okay, that could be a great idea. Like right now, I'm a very, I think far in advance. So I have my books sort of planned out in a way, in a sense, loosely till 2024.
Wow.
So I'm picking up these little bits and pieces of all of these stories that are floating around my head. And I use the notes file on my phone, and it's like, oh, that would be an awesome thing for this character, or this could be a really solid bit for this character, so I'm just sort of like
so
adding
useful.
File. Yeah. And then that's sort of how I work, where as time goes on, I've learned, that's one thing about me. I've learned that the longer I think about the characters and what they're going through and their journey, the richer it is, and the more depth there is, and the more they feel like real people. And so it's almost like I can sort of have a conversation with them, and I know about that thing that happened in 7th grade that totally messed them up, even if it doesn't end up in the book, but they really do become like real people. So it's kind of like this ongoing, ever-evolving relationship that we have, in my head.
I love that. Would you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
I think I'm an extrovert.
Because I just read something. I used to think I was an extrovert until I really felt myself changing in the last 10 years or so. And I'm more of an introvert now. And, but I just read something that says extroverts talk out their problems. Mm-hmm. They speak them out loud, whereas introverts tend to sit and write and think very quietly and don't talk them out loud. Yeah. And it sounds like you have a really good practice of speaking these things aloud with people that you love and working through that.
Yeah. Or by myself, sometimes in the car. In the car, I'll do it too, where I'll do voice memos. Either it's dialogue, so what happens for me is I'll almost a scene will pop into my head and it'll play like a movie, and I can hear the dialogue and I can see everything, and and sometimes it's really hard for me because as I'm writing the story, that first scene that sparked the whole thing will be something that doesn't make it into the book. It just doesn't work at a certain point. And it's so hard because I'm like, no, this was the seed of the whole thing. How can I get rid of this? But I've learned that sometimes you can't just shoehorn it in. So that's it's
no
tricky.
Matter how hard we try.
No matter how hard. It's nope, it just doesn't work. So there are times when I've really I'll be in the car and there'll be a scene, and as stupid as I feel doing it, I'll go in and I'll just have to say it out loud. And I've tried dictation. It has not worked for me, but I'll do the voice memos and then I upload it in my computer. I have a program where it'll transcribe it, so I don't even have to listen to it. And then I just get the actual words, and then I go, I'll just add those to my little notes document where I keep them for whatever story that was for.
What program is that? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh gosh, because I haven't used it in a while. It's Dragon.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Dragon is great. I have that on my phone as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's worth having it there for the transcription.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your biggest challenge when it comes to writing?
So it's usually either one of two things. Either I'm stuck in the story. There's something where I just know there's something that's not working. I can't put my finger on it. I just can't place if it's someone's motivation or something in their background or a piece of where they're going or something is missing. And I have to sit and think about it, which kills me because I want to be writing always because I don't have much time, and I try to space out my releases fairly consistently. So it's either that or I have the story and I know what needs to get done and I just don't have the time. Some days like the 4:30 thing, I try to do that at least 3 times a week, but sometimes, you sleep in and you wake up with the alarm and it's time,
because you need to sleep. Right.
I need to sleep. So those are the hard times when it's like, oh no, so I have to take the kids to a sleepover, or they've got a orchestra concert, or they have something going on, and it's like, so I'm out all day and then we're tired, so those are the two hardest parts. Either it's the story isn't clicking, or I literally just do not have enough hours in the day to sit down and write.
And those are
yeah.
Yeah, and those are two things you just can't sit down and fix.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll like try and type some on my phone, or I'll try and type some on my iPad and like get some, but I've learned to just not try to, like, if it's just not going to work, I just don't force it. Don't force it is like probably the biggest thing.
That's a professional thing to do. Sometimes I just force it, and then I'll have 10,000 words that I wish I didn't have that are not going to work because I've been forcing it. I'm a big fan of beating my head against a brick wall, personally. Yeah. What is your biggest joy when it comes to writing?
I think, well, it's also one of two things. It's actually, finishing and like saving that file and just sending it to my editor and having a whole like 2 minutes where there's something that doesn't need to be done, because like the book is like 30% of what goes into actually publishing a book. Like writing a book, I feel like is it ends up being such a small piece of what goes into the whole publishing process.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that moment when I know, like, okay, this first draft is done, and then I don't have to deal with the horror show that will be when the edits come back, but I'm just like, it's done. Have some wine, I can celebrate. That's amazing. And then I think the other part is just when I start getting people emailing me or messaging me saying, how much a character in the story they identified with, or they loved, or spoke to them, or moved them, or made them cry, or made them laugh, whatever it was. Those are the best.
I love that. I love that so much. Can you share a quick craft tip of any sort with us?
Sure. I use Scrivener to write my first draft. Sometimes I use Scrivener after I get my edits back. It depends on how lazy I'm feeling, because the copy and paste it back in is a little bit sometimes. But one of the things that I love in Scrivener, and let me just make sure I'm getting the right name of it. It's a feature that allows you to isolate only specific parts of speech. So you can pull it up and it will show you all of the, what is it called? It'll show you like highlight, or it'll gray out everything except like all of your verbs. So you can go in and you can see all the verbs that you're using, per whatever it is, chapter.
I had no idea.
Whatever it is that you're using. So you can sort of try and cut down on duplication that way. Also, it will allow you to isolate dialogue only. So you can go through and it'll just show you all your dialogue. So you can just sort of make sure it's flowing. And I try and do that because I break down my files. So I'll have like the folder, and then each chapter is I don't even know what they're called. Each chapter is its own document.
Yeah.
And so I'll go through and I'll select only all the documents for one specific character. And then I'll go through and make sure that it reads like, they're not reading the same, because two people aren't going to think the same way. So it just sort of helps me.
That's mind blowing.
So I just use that where is this thing? It is called, I need to find it. But yeah, so
people can find it. They'll now that they know it exists, they can find it. But
yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, I just love it because it helps me. Yeah, linguistic focus. That's what it's called. It's under writing tools, linguistic focus, and you can say, show me all the direct speech. So you can sort of see, oh, is this way too dialogue heavy? Does this like chapter have no dialogue at all? Like, or you can do nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, all that stuff. So you can just
That is brilliant, especially the dialogue thing, because my problem is in first draft and sometimes second draft, my characters all speak exactly the same. They speak the way I speak. Mm-hmm. And that is a revision round for me. That's a draft pass where I go in and actually change it to be specifically theirs. And I never thought of that. I never knew that existed. I'd be using Scrivener since it came out. So, wow.
I love Scrivener. There are so many things, like there are other things that like just other tool, like other features that it has. And I'm always like, and it took me, I had Scrivener for a year and a half before I finally like opened it and was like, okay, why is this a thing? Like, what makes this worth trying to figure out all of this stuff? Like, why? And then I started like watching the people who developed Scrivener. They have YouTube videos and things like that. And I just sort of started to play around with it. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And now, like, I couldn't do my first drafts without Scrivener. Like, it just, the snapshots, like, I love taking snapshots, like all of
I like
that.
the sound it makes.
Yes, that's a very satisfying sound when it takes it. And then, but yeah, being able to compare snapshots and see like, okay, what changed, what didn't change. It just, I love it.
I've actually never compared a snapshot. I take them because I'm scared and I like reduplication of my saving efforts. But yeah, I've never compared them. That's so interesting.
I usually do
that is
after
cool.
Edits, like, because when I've gotten them back and to be like, oh, because sometimes when it's with the editor, I might go in and make a change. And then I'm like, oh, crap. I don't want to lose that and make sure that I'm capturing it in the new, new version.
You are really good at Scrivener. That's amazing. I'm really excited about that. I must hang up now and go into Scrivener and go do that.
Play around with it. And you know about the name generator, right?
I do. And it took me a long time to find that. That's also under writing tools is the name generator. Yes. It's so brilliant. It's just there. Yep. And you can up the complexity and it's fantastic. I use it all the time because I don't care about names. Names I'll just plug in. I'm not one of those people who really, really needs the best name.
You're like any name.
The name that their parents gave them is fine by me. Okay, so what thing in your life, it can be from any area of your life, affects your writing in a surprising way?
That's interesting. I don't know how surprising it is, though. Music plays a big part, I think, in my writing. So I usually start, once a book is maybe 3 books from now, like, so that's what I consider a close book that'll be coming out soon. I start making a playlist and building a playlist based off of those characters and sort of their journey and their story and what's happening to them and how they feel about each other and how they feel about themselves. And so I'll start sort of like, I'll go on Pandora or Spotify and I'll put it on whatever mood I'm looking for at that time, like whether it's like acoustic pop or like bluesy stuff or whatever it is, today's hits, that kind of stuff, or like 90s music, stuff like that. And then I'll just start, as it's playing, I'll go, oh, I think that would be like a song this character would like. And then I'll add it to the playlist. And then sort of once I'm writing, depending on what type of writing I'm doing or how deep I'm into things and how things are flowing, I'll just like sort of put that playlist on repeat and just to sort of give me a sort of feel for those characters. So
does it bother you when there are words in the music at all? Can you still write?
I can still write. I mean, it depends on what type of scenes they are, but yeah, I can write even with the words.
I used to do that more for some reason. I think I don't know why I really stopped, but there are a couple books that if I hear the particular songs now, it just throws me right back into the book. And that's a delicious feeling. And it's like a surprise to revisit those books suddenly when a song comes on. It's actually made me cry before. Like a song will come on my rotation and I'll go, oh God, I miss them.
Yeah, no. And then it's also something fun to share with readers because then I can share those playlists with the readers. And it's like another fun little piece of that world of those characters.
I did that once and never again.
I mean, they found it. Now readers have found it and they're like, oh my God, like they'll go on my Spotify and they can see the same with my Pinterest. They'll go on my Spotify, they'll go on my Pinterest and they'll start like, we'll have like theories and they'll be like, this lyric said this thing about this person. Like, are you writing a book about that? Like they get a bit into it.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. You're extending your fictional world to them and letting them participate. Oh, that's so cool. That's a really good answer. What is the best book you've read recently or not recently, and why did you love it?
Okay, so it wasn't recently. It's an older book, but I loved, and I think this was maybe the first time I had read, I guess, Shifters. Are they considered paranormal?
Yeah, usually I think.
Yeah. Although there's no shifting in this actual book, but Theodora Taylor's Her Viking Wolf was, I think, the first shifter book I ever read, and I was like, what is this? I love this book. And it was so fun. And has like time travel in it and all sorts of stuff. And
Ooh.
it was a book that I loved. And I, go back and I reread it every so often just because.
I have to check it out. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Now we talk about you. Tell us about your latest book or series, the one that you want to direct listeners to, and where can we find you?
Yes. So I don't know when this will air, but
probably in a couple 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, my release then was today, so it will be on sale, or it's on sale now. It's a secret admirer, next door neighbor, although he's actually across the street. Friends to lovers type of book, and it's in my series of standalones that I have right now. And yeah, I mean, people can find me sort of everywhere. I'm probably more places than I should be. It's like you want to look up my Pinterest boards or Spotify or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere.
Oh, you're on TikTok. I was on TikTok for about 20 minutes and I realized that I lost all concept of who I was as a human being for 20 minutes. And I was like, no, I'll do this for the next 24 hours. And I took it off my phone. I was so terrified. It was so great. It was such a good place to be.
Yeah.
Do you love it?
Well, I'm starting on it. So I'm not, so hopefully in 3 weeks, I'll have a lot more on there for people to check out. Yeah. But no, I have learned though about taking things off my phone. I actually last year I burned out. And I think part of the reason was I took Candy Crush off my phone. It's very crazy. I was like, I am spending way too much time on Candy Crush. I need to get this off my phone. It's crazy. And then I sort of been working with someone, an author coach, and we sort of came to the realization that my brain is always going, like always firing. Like it is very hard for me to shut off and just like not be doing anything. So Candy Crush was kind of like letting my brain just like chill out for a bit, like that shower time, like when you're just standing in the shower and you get ideas and things are flowing. Candy Crush, it was like it took enough of my attention that I couldn't think about too many other things, but it wasn't so time consuming or so intensive that I couldn't also have the background like wheels turning. So I totally put it back on my phone.
I absolutely love that. That makes so much sense to me. And I've never heard anybody say that. But that's your shower time. That's your spacing out time. And that's when, and they say that the default mode network, that's when it fires up in the brain. And that's when connections start to be made in the back of your mind, not the forefront of your mind. So I think that's genius. Who was the author coach? Was it Becca Syme?
Yes, of course. Becca.
Best. So are you high intellection then?
No, I am restorative, focus, achiever, communication, and futuristic. So
nice.
Yeah, so the achiever and focus can like work against me because I can't stop. Like I can't ever stop. So sometimes I've tried meditation. I'm like, I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to achieve that. I am going to do it. I have not been able to do it yet, but so Candy Crush is like my meditation. That's the closest I've gotten. That's the closest.
I love that. And I love that Becca like really tells us what like that things are okay. Like Candy Crush is okay on your phone because it's doing a good thing for you. She told me that like my pain point in writing was just that this is going to be my pain point. It's just going to be my pain point. It's going to be painful to do this. And I thought, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I can't make this easy.
I can't. I know. She's the one who told me I can't plot. I still say, I reject that premise, but I'm like, I will continue to work at it. I won't work myself up if I'm unable to, but I'm like, I would like to get to a point in my process where I am able to very clearly see the story and all the roadblocks that might present themselves as it goes so that I won't hit them. But yeah, she's amazing. She's
awesome. We're all proselytizing about her. Yeah.
Totally.
Well, thank you so much, Maya, for being on the show. It's been a absolute delight to talk to you. So I wish you well in your writing and in your sleeping too. May you get enough.
May I get enough sleep. Thank you. That is like the best wish that anyone could ever give a mom. I feel like it's like, may you get as much sleep as you need.
Wow. May you get enough sleep. All right. Thanks so much, Maya. It's been a delight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.